All right, looks like we've got one person joining us. Trying to get the lighting right and make sure the audio is good. It's a real challenge sometimes. So if you see, we have a comment section where you can actually chat with me live. I'm going to pull up that little box. So if y'all have questions or comments, just try to paste them out. I have a lot of material I need to cover with y'all. So I'm going to cover, I know most people have general questions, and so you're always welcome to ask anything about Section 8. Today's real focus will be on persons with disabilities, and we'll be talking about Section 811. We're going to go over what federal law, federal regulation, and what the requirements actually are per HUD. Before I get started, I am not an attorney, and I'm not giving you legal advice. I am not a doctor. I don't hold a PhD, so I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just telling you the way I know it. And, I work with a lot of disability attorneys that have problems with their clients, and sometimes they defer to me because I read so much and know so much in the Section 8 area. They kind of defer back to me. But so that's going to be the scope and topic of what we're covering right now. And let's see, we've got 2 people only. It's going to be a slow night, I guess. So first of all, I'd like to recognize a few people that have been loyal members of the channel, and I wanted to thank you all for becoming members of our section8consulting.com. Also, as you can see, I've put the web address, and if you have a complex case or you have other issues where you're trying to figure out what to do with Section 8 housing or get through the process, possibly get housing quicker, or figure out what's going on with the waiting list, you can always book an appointment with me. I'm fairly inexpensive compared to most people. I operate Monday through Friday, usually in the morning hours, and so you're always welcome to talk with me that way. And I've got about 200 videos, so most people know me as quite an authority on the subject matter. Queen of Hearts, how are you doing? I'm doing well, and how about yourself? So we're going to go over all the stuff that's going to be a little bit repetitive. I need to read some regulation to you and some laws about disability so you have a clear understanding of what's happening, and then we'll go into a phase of talking about it. So federal non-disclosure laws define a person with a disability to include an individual with a physical or mental impairment that substantially, and you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this in front of me just so I can read it off to you guys, as an individual with a record of such impairment, or an individual who is regarded as having such impairment. In other words, we're talking about individuals. So let's get to the meat of it. In general, a physical or mental impairment that includes but is not limited to examples of conditions as orthopedic, visual, speech, hearing impairments, cerebral palsy, autism, epilepsy, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, human deficiency virus, HIV, developmental disabilities, mental illness, drug addiction, and alcoholism. Now, look, don't jump off and run down to Section 8 because they talk about alcoholism and drug addiction. I realize a lot of people are recovering from that, but that's a sticky thing that you're dealing with when you mention those 2 subjects to any housing authority, okay? Now, let's go on from there. Some impairments are readily observable, while others may not be visible. Other impairments may include, but are not limited to, blindness, low vision, deafness, being hard of hearing, mobility limitations, and other types of impairments with observable symptoms or effects such as intellectual impairments, including some types of autism, neurological impairments, e.g. strokes, Parkinson's disease, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, or brain injury, mental illness or other diseases or conditions that affect major life activities. Now, the key word here, that affect other major life activities or bodily functions. Okay, remember that, because when we go into general talk, I'll be talking to you a lot about that. In the term of major life activities, which includes those activities that are important to daily life, remember that term. Major life activities include, and for example, walking, speaking, hearing, seeing, breathing, working, learning, performing manual tasks, and caring for oneself. Covers a lot, doesn't it? So why are so many of you guys getting disqualified? And they don't even believe you have a disability. By the way, guys, you do not need, HUD is not the Social Security Administration. They do not require you to have a Social Security disability check in order to get this. But if you don't know your rights, they're not going to offer you anything, okay? So let me just be clear about that. That's why so many of you fail this part. There are other major like activities that are not that are not on this list, obviously, and they don't like publishing the whole list because then there'd be a run on the housing authority locally. So, moving on. Major life activities also include the operation of major bodily activities such as functions of the immune system, special sense organs and skin, normal cell growth, digestive, I couldn't even tell you the other one, bowel, bladder, neurological, brain, respiratory, circulatory, cardiovascular, hemic, muscular, skeletal, and reproductive systems. And no, men, just because you don't have a lady friend, that's not going to get you a free ride to the housing authority, okay? Let's keep it within reason. Now, here's the meat and potatoes you're all looking for. This is where it breaks it down, and this is where it actually forced the housing authorities in every county across the country to comply, and this is how I often nail them right to the carpet. Under regulations implementing the ADA Amendments Act of 2008, some types of impairments will, in virtually all cases, let me repeat that, guys, in some types of impairments will, in virtually all cases. In other words, if you've got this on the list, you're automatically qualified. I dare them to try to fight me on that one. To be found to impose substantial limitation or major life activity resulting in determination of disability. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Such impairments are predictably assessed. And so, again, that's just another clever word for saying, yes, you're automatically qualified for that disability. As disabilities, by the very nature of impairment, of substantially limiting or major life activity or major bodily function. Examples include, and here are the magic ones: deafness, blindness, intellectual disabilities, and I have to talk more on that. I know a lot of you have that. Partially or completely missing limbs or mobility impairments requiring the use of a wheelchair. Autism, cancer, cerebral palsy, diabetes, epilepsy, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, human deficiency virus, HIV, infection, major depressive disorder, bipolar disorder. Now that covers about 90% of you guys in many cases. Okay, I'm not saying everybody has a mental problem, but 80% of my clients have mental problems. Okay. Beyond that, post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, obsessive compulsive disorder, and schizophrenia. If I just name those down there and you have that as an automatic qualifier, however, guys, the housing authority is clever. If they don't give you an opportunity if you don't bring it up in the right way, if you don't get in that application, if you don't produce evidence, then they're not going to make it their job to basically help you with it, okay? You'll just go in like every other person and spend 45 years waiting on a list. That's why it's important you understand the ADA amendments of 2008. Now, let me go into one more thing. We're going to talk about the actual application. So you want to really know, a lot of you guys, you're putting wheels on the filing cabinet, you're tying a rope to it, and you're dragging that whole damn thing down to the housing authority in the hope that you're going to appeal for your case and then get yourself a voucher and get it very quickly. Maybe they'll cut you a voucher right there. Let's talk about what that application actually really is. So I'm going to pull that up real quick. Unfortunately, I wish I could show you my screen, guys, but I've not yet figured out how to do that on here. Bear with me. I hope I didn't. Okay, y'all ready? Here's the only three things they're ever going to ask you on the application. If you get these parts right, then you're in. If you get them wrong, you're out, okay? So I'm going to skip past the other parts. This person has applied for housing assistance under the program, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. HUD requires a housing owner to verify all information that is used in determining this person's eligibility or level of benefits. We ask your cooperation in providing the following information and returning it to the person listed at the top of the page. Your prompt return of this information will help ensure a timely process of the application of assistance and closes the self-address, blah, blah, blah. Here's the information requested, and it is a yes or no question. It's just as simple. You do not need filing cabinets filled with paperwork. Has a disability as defined in Section 42 U.S. Code 423, which means A, inability to engage in substantial gainful activity by reason of medical determination of physical or mental impairment that would be expected to result in death or will last greater than 12 months. What have I been preaching to you guys 1,000 times? You've got a problem, it lasts more than 12 months, and your doctor's willing to check yes or no. Congratulations, you have a disability. Will your charts and information and all this stuff help you with Social Security Administration, which is another federal agency? No. Okay, that's a much more strenuous process. It requires you having an attorney. HUD is a different federal agency. Its requirements are much more lenient. Okay, that's number one. Let's go to number two. In the case of an individual who has attained the age of 55, is blind, has the inability to reason as such blindness to engage substantial gainful activity requiring skills or abilities compatriate to those of any gainful activity. So in other words, blah, 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 blah. We're going down to number two. Has a physical, mental, or emotional impairment that is A, B, or C. Here's the three answers. Is expected to be long continued and indefinite duration. B, substantially impedes his or her ability to live independently. C, is of such nature that the ability to live independently could be improved by more substantial housing conditions. All right. If you get A, B, or C on question number two, which is a yes or no by your doctor, congratulations, you have a disability. Let's go to the third and final chance you'll get with this. This is a yes and no question for your doctor. I'm going to stroke of a pen can fix your life. Okay. Has a developmental disability as defined by Section 102-7 of the Developmental Disabilities Assistance in Bills of Rights Act 42, USC 6018, i.e., person with severe chronic disability that is A, B, C, or D. Let's read those all. A is attributed to mental or physical impairment or a combination of mental and physical impairments. B is manifested before the age attains of 22. In other words, you've had this disability prior to turning 22. C is likely to continue indefinitely. D results in substantial functional limitation in three or more of the following areas of major life activity: self-care, receptive or expressing language, learning, mobility, self-direction, capacity for independent living, and 7, economic self-sufficiency. In other words, they were unable to sustain a job worth paying the bills. E reflects the person's need for combination or sequence of special interdiscretionary or generic care, treatment, or other services. In other words, it's a lot easier to attain 1 and 2 than 3. If you have number 3, you're probably not a member of this channel, because your developmental delays would be severe enough you would not be searching for answers on YouTube. Okay. So another thing I would like to make clear with you guys, look, I understand that was a little bit hellish having me sit there and read that in like a book, but here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to show you all the information. Okay. It's not going to be in this, but I wanted y'all to see that I'm actually defining the actual federal and state laws that go behind this. There is no way the Housing Authority will refute any of it, period. They do not get a choice. When I dictate law and when we put it out there in front of them, their mouth shuts, and that is going to be the end of the conversation. If they're unable to meet that compliance, then people, basically people start losing jobs. I don't play with those people when it comes to that. They'll either comply with federal law or I'll go after them. Now, just to be clear, I'm not, like I said, I'm not an attorney, but I certainly know the avenues that we need to go down, take care of that, okay? So people that work at the Housing Authority that are making $6 an hour and have an attitude, when they decide they don't want to give you disability when you qualify for it, trust me, it is a straight road to hell for them, not you. Now, let's move on from that point. So now we understand what federal law says. There's no refuting that. There's not going to be any double talk from Sally at the front phone at the Housing Authority and COC. They will shut their mouth, they will comply, or that will be an end or termination of their job, or as close as I can get them to it. So moving on from that, the secondary video I'm going to make, we're going to get a little bit deeper into that, and we're going to talk about the specific qualifiers. What you want to do is do not leave these questions of what disabilities are open like that. You want to target ones that are automatic qualifiers. And I spoke about that lightly, I think, in the early part of the video, some of the automatic qualifiers. Once we have those in place, then you're applicable for Section 811. And it doesn't matter if you're disabled, if you're old, if you're young, or whatever it may be, but a lot of you guys are fighting your case the wrong way. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you're just filling out some application and then driving away from the housing authority, you have zero chance of getting anything with those people. Unless they really just care the fact that you had to basically roll yourself in the building and you're missing one eye, one arm, and one leg, and still then they may not even give you a disability qualification. Do not ever trust those people to apprise you of your rights and your rules. It will never happen. Trust me on that deal. I've dealt with all 50 states. I've dealt with thousands of housing authorities. And let me tell you, whatever's easiest for Sally to do at the front office, that's what she's going to do. All right. I've discussed that many times in many videos, what happens when you deal with these organizations that are county run. All right. So moving on from that, I'd like to open up some questions. I'm sure y'all been asking questions, but I wanted to get through that part. So I'm going to see if I can pull up my little pop-up, and then we'll deal with those questions. What the hell is it? Okay, bear with me, folks, here. Restore the chat, and I'm going to pop it out again. Alexander, I'm glad you came back to see me, man. Thank you for that donation the other day. I was looking at that. I thought you were another person, man. But I'm glad you're hanging around the channel. You know, one of the interesting things about a lot of my clients and people that come to my channel is they've been around for years. They keep coming back. I have both. I guess I have an interesting personality. I tend to be on the professional side when I give you guys advice, but yet I can talk as much shit and street talk as anybody else. You know, one of the interesting things about my job is I talk with all kinds of people. I talk with people that are well educated. I talk with people that are from the street, from the hood. And so I often find that I almost have to be bipolar and change my personality to meet the needs of the clients that I deal with. So every conversation every day, you know, goes a little bit differently. If I only presented myself as an academic person on the phone, I would have zero appeal to most of my clients. So I tend to be many things for many people, whatever it takes. So the second part of this I'd like to talk to you guys about is mental illness. Now, you know, I'm going to say, honestly, about 70, maybe 80% of my clients have mental illness. And some of those cases can be challenging, especially the ones that are paranoid and they believe that the landlord has done things to them or the housing authority. And they can't see that really it's just their mental illness taking over. It's got a hold to them. In some cases, it's very real. I've dealt with seniors that have lived in situations that are so horrific that it would just blow your mind. They've sent me photos. First, I was very suspect of some of the stuff they were telling me. Then I would see the photos, and then I truly understood the dilemma they were dealing with. I mean, we're talking ramshackle, roaches and rats popping out the ceiling, just craziness, you know. In other cases, I deal with people that are just so schizophrenic that it's hard to help them. Sometimes just a conversation to ease the way that they feel, and try to do the best that I can to get them in some type of housing so they can get off the street. So, you know, dealing with physical and mental disabilities and those people that seek those type of services from me is probably one of the more important jobs. I kind of wish I had gone to school and got a degree in psychology, because I think it would be really useful what I do, because over half of what I do is really feels like I'm counseling people emotionally that are broken. A lot of people are simply broken because they're dealing with a situation that's impossible. They're being put out of their homes. They're desperate to get a housing. I deal with a lot of people that are in tears, women that, let me tell you, one thing I've seen extraordinary advance in is domestic violence between men and women. That's bad. I've had a lot of those cases, and it's just horrific. And to be honest, if I wasn't doing this, then I would be going knocking on doors and you know what, because I just genuinely can't believe that people do stuff like that to each other. So that's why, you know, the job that I do, I take very seriously, because it means the difference of life and death for some people. I've had people threaten to harm themselves while I'm consulting calls, and it's very disturbing for me, because at that point, it doesn't matter how much time I allocate to you. I'm not willing to leave that phone line until you get better, you know. So I have people that are falling apart. And then you combine this pandemic into it, where people are further isolated. They no longer have jobs and incomes and different things. And this has been the wildest year, 12 months of my life, trying to deal with people, because it's no longer about housing. It's a combination of that, of counseling. And I want to make it clear, I'm not illegally counseling anybody, okay? It's just part of one human to another. So just to be clear. Look, we got a few questions here, but I'll take a look. I called everyone in my country, in your county in Alabama, and I was told they had nothing there. There was nothing for me, for myself, my sister, or both on disability. Okay, well, now that's sometimes believable, you know. If there is no, if the housing authority has no vouchers to give and it's a closed waiting list, then there may not be any possibilities there. But the wonderful part about living in a straight nation is we have 5,400 counties to choose from in 50 states. In other words, we can literally play tic-tac-toe with every county until one of them has a voucher. There's always a way to deal with this stuff. There's also emergency type housing. It isn't the greatest. It's continuum of care housing. That's something that gets you started. They usually get you housed within 30, 45 days. So there's always solutions. I mean, I've made a 20-year career of this. Beat the hell out of housing authorities, defeating waiting lists, and beating the hell out of lotteries. I know how these games work. Why else would I have 11,000 manuals? I mean, it's just what I do. There's nobody better in this nation than what I do. Trust me on that. Look around Google, look around YouTube. There's nobody that knows more about the subject unless you actually work the top tiers of HUD itself. There's nobody, absolutely no one that competes with me. Moving on beyond that, I've been on disability since 1994. I have a severe anxiety, depression. I also have a back injury. Let me tell you something about that back injury. That's orthopedic, and if you could prove that you've got degenerative disc disease or something like that, you've got an automatic in, okay? And then moving on, blah, blah, blah. So you're dealing with some domestic issues with the family. They've got some special funding, as I mentioned in my last video right now, and I'm going to be talking exclusively about that in another video. Under the Biden administration, they've rolled out emergency vouchers. It's the first time I've ever been aware. I mean, the literal, because I always call them mythical unicorns. So they're doing a lot in some of the specific housing authorities around the country where they allow people to get vouchers, even on a closed waiting list. There's more preferential treatment than anything. But before I get you all wound up and trying to email me hot and all day, all night long about that, let me just tell you, it's not ready yet. They haven't actually passed that part of it through the legislation, but the funding is available. So I will be talking about that later. So the domestic issues, if it's between you and a person that you're intimate with, in a relationship with, cannot be your neighbors, your friends and family, then we can qualify for VAWA funding, which then is attached to a Section 8 or housing choice voucher. And then we usually are pretty successful with your application. Let me tell you something, you guys, when you have DB, and the reason I'm avoiding the word domestic B, you know what the B means, is because YouTube will try to lower the rank of a video just based on using that one magic word. So I can't use it that much. All right. So if you have that part in your application, it's like jet fuel. If somebody that you're in a relationship and you've been in that relationship with somebody that's caused you DB issues, domestic issues, and you've been in that relationship greater than 2 years, and you've had an incident between you and that person that you're in a relationship with in the past 30 days, you can put that in your application as a yes and no event. And that is, like I said, it's like jet fuel. It forces them to house you quicker than everybody else. And the secondary feature it has special funding. It has also special pandemic funding. And then on top of that, if you have a room full of people with amazingly high scores, where they get all the way to the top of the list, the deciding factor will always be the client with DB. And so what's so interesting about that is most people are ashamed to talk about DB or domestic issues. And so because of that, they either avoid the question or don't mention it in their applications, and they lose about 40% of where they could be on a list. As I've explained to you guys many times, a lot of these housing authority applications are designed to ask questions that are stupid, that have nothing to do with how you would rank and how long you would wait. And then they'll put in there about 7 very powerful questions, but they put them in there in such a way that it works on you mentally to make you feel ashamed to answer the question. Thus, you pass it up, or you lie, or you don't answer correctly, and you lose massive amounts of points. And I always refer to points. So it's not specifically points with the housing authority, but you lose a big chunk of where you could rank on that list because it, like I said, and they also like to phrase words, questions very cleverly to make you believe that it's not applicable to you. Okay. So they understand that a greater portion of people that apply for Section 8 housing, I'm not saying all that, or may not have the highest level of intelligence. So they do try to cleverly outword most of the clients that are applying on these applications. And in such a way they do that, they get you to answer wrong. And it's just amazing. I went over a video, I was showing you all the questions one day, and it actually blew some of y'all's minds that, yeah, it works on you mentally, and it works on a level where it makes you feel the shame, where you would never bring up those things, never admit them. And thus they've done exactly what they wanted to do. They were able to thin the herd. And I call it a herd because a lot of people are on, right? A lot of people want to be on the top of the list. and it does its job. It plays a game in your head and gets you not to answer the question correctly. And then you say, fuck it, and you don't do it, or you just do it wrong, okay? So you'll have to watch me for profanities. I love to use them because it helps give a little bit of realism to the videos. So let's move on down to these other questions. Well, I guess, you know what, guys? There's 14 people watching. Now, y'all have to talk to me. Unless all of y'all working for the housing departments around the nation are just curious about what I'm preaching about today. I know that I do get visitors from different government agencies. I know that NewYork.gov, California.gov, several different city governments have popped into my videos. And again, I don't do anything illegal. Otherwise, they'd have shut me down 6 years ago. I think sometimes these housing authorities are more interested in ways to kind of defeat the process that I put my clients through so they can continue on that terrible path. But that's okay. So if you're from the housing authority, please chime in, please. I'd love to hear back from you guys. I have a lot of housing authority employees that are angry employees that send me plenty of emails and give me plenty of information. So I always appreciate a little bit of good sparring. I'm in public housing and my neighbor is in hot water. So public housing, I presume when you say public housing, and that, in my mind, that usually means that the housing authority owns the building and you're in project-based housing. If I'm correct in that, Alexander, let me know. Well, the best thing your friend can do, Alexander, is reach out to me. You know, it's dealing with housing authorities and applications, all that. You know, filling out an application is common sense, but I can tell you, there's a lot of tricky things into that. If you don't really know what you're doing, guys, you're playing a game that could cost you 20 years of your life of waiting. Why, you know, I'm not gonna tell you, if y'all can't afford consults to fix, you know, get a $20,000 discount against your rent, stuff like that, that's a bad decision. Most of you guys spend $45 on complete bullshit at Walmart. But when it comes to securing housing and $20,000 discount in a lifetime of housing for next to free, you guys seem to struggle with paying me. So I'm not saying all y'all do that. I'm just saying some people get on me about that. But I've got to make a living too, you know. So, but yeah, tell your neighbor to reach out to me. I'll talk to him. Look, if there's a loophole out there, let me tell you something. If lawmakers invented laws, I invented loopholes into the Section 8. I look at this stuff, man. Come on, 250,000 pages of legislation read. I mean, can you imagine how much time that takes to read all that and keep up with all this stuff? So it's a lot. So let's go back to the physical disability aspects. So, you know, just because you go in a wheelchair doesn't mean they're going to qualify for any disability. They'll ask you if you're okay. Well, sir, are you okay? Are you rolling your wheelchair? Good. Okay. Well, you don't need much from us then. So, you know, we'll put you down there and the number 10,000, 28,400. You look like you're doing just fine. Can you roll that thing up the stairs as well? If you think that you're pretty storing, if you think that what you're telling housing authority employees compel them, trust me, these people can give a shit about what happens to you. On very rare cases, new employees that still like their job actually care about what they do with y'all and whether or not you get a voucher. Y'all go in there with long stories, you bring crazy paperwork and letters from the church and all this shit. They don't care about any of that stuff. You're nothing but a number that goes in the computer that gets ranked by an algorithm that goes onto a waiting list. So, you know, if you can't play the game better than the people that created it, then you sure as hell better hire someone like me that knows the game that gets you through it, okay? If it was designed to be fair, then I would say everybody run down and go down to Sunday service, and then when we leave there, let's get a voucher. But in the real world, shit does not let me work that way. It never has. It is a game, and only the people that play it the best actually get the housing. For the rest of you that have a lot of patience and don't mind living under the bridge and on the sidewalk, maybe even picking up a little heroin addiction, then in 15 or 20 years, they'll call you. But unfortunately, it's too bad. You changed your number and your address, so you've been disqualified. You see, there's so much shit built into this stuff to eliminate you guys. So much. A lot of you guys have a habitual system of not wanting to answer the phone. You let it go to voicemail. Let that be the housing authority calling you, and that thing go to voicemail. That'll be the last time they ever call you. You guys think it's a joke. Just people over there don't care. They do 1-year audits. Anybody that don't answer that phone that day when they start ringing, guess what? You're out of there. And if you don't think they don't rekey your address numbers to sometimes send those letters out to addresses that don't exist, you're out your tree. One day y'all should just go by the house, go in there, meet some of the people, and tell me how many of them actually look like they actually graduated 9th grade. Do that. Except for the people that work in the back, the accountant, the attorney, possibly the director of services of the housing authority. Tell me how many of those people that you just saw yesterday at the Taco Bell window. Okay, because you guys have the wrong opinion about these city employees that are working and controlling the housing authority. These people, most of them have barely an education. Most of them never read a manual. And like I told you guys, for $95, between $95 and $1,000, they can be a housing specialist. It's like a certificate out of a bubblegum machine. So if you think they're going to go home and be paid $9 an hour and read the manual and care about your life, you're out your tree. I'm serious. You better get somebody that's good at what they do. And I'm good, real good. So anyways, I'm sorry to get on everybody's ass, but I think that some of you really just think that the United States government is involved in the activities. If this was the feds running a housing authority, it would run right, for somewhat. But because the HUD gives the money to the state gives it to the county runs the housing authority. The housing authority is run by the county. It's not run by HUD. And so then that's where shit gets real bad. That's where it gets crazy. That's why when you go in a town of 5,000 people, you'll see a one-bedroom house with the words, a wooden sign outside that says housing authority. Now, if you don't think that Sally and Miss B are not working at front office, do you think they have a master's degree? Do you think that they even give a shit what happens to anybody? No. They're just running the housing authority. So, that's the thing about this, guys. You got to take your responsibility. What if you're up in New York, Jersey? If you think it's crazy out in the country, let me put you through Los Angeles, New York, and, Chicago isn't too bad, or New Jersey. Generational vouchers are absurd, just complete absurdity. So, Alexander, thank you for the donation, brother. You're my number one donator. You're my first donator, and you're my second donator, and you're my best donator. So I appreciate that. So, look, we got some more questions. Sonia, hey, thank you for coming and joining me again, girl. So let's see what Sonia has to say. I feel ashamed for sleeping in my car a few times because it's toxic where I live, renting a room on SSDI. I'm scheduling a consult with you next week. We're going to get you squared away, Sonia. Don't worry about that. I don't care if we got to move you, port you down to Hawaii. That's another thing I want to tell you guys. A lot of you, I told you in the last video, living in broom closets, you're paying $4,000 a month, giving up your whole Social Security check to live right next to the mop and the broom and the trash can in the closet. And you call that an apartment. When you could live in Hawaii, you could live in Honolulu. I could send you down to Puerto Rico, a tropical island, but you insist on living like human trash and these SROs, and it's absurd. You take that same Social Security check you're getting, take yourself farther down south, and you would actually have money left over. You guys have got to rethink the way that you're doing things. Also, these vouchers from California, New York, Chicago, Houston, those are very valuable vouchers. A lot of other states where people make less money, those housing authorities would snap it up the minute your voucher is simply worth more coming from New York. Now, if you came from, say, my little hometown, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that little shitty voucher is worth $400, and you take it down to New York, they're going to laugh you out of the building. We don't want this trash. We don't want your coupon, because you know what? Who the hell's going to pay the other $2,500 it's going to take for you to move in the broom closet? You see my point? So there's all different types of ways to look at different perspectives of this. But after talking with thousands of people, watching the cases play out over time, I've watched people get older and they've had their cases so long. So yeah, it's just really just how you're looking at this stuff. So let's see what else we got. I'm going to pop this window back out because I keep having to lean over to. Here we go. I lost it earlier. I had to set up and ready. So I'll be back in June for your website consultation for sure. And that's Mr. Alexander. Well, Mr. Alexander, I'll be looking forward to it. I'll definitely try to remember you when you come around. Crystal Addie, how are you, girl? I remember you you frequent my comment section quite a bit. Hey, look, you know what? I'm always happy to be there for people. I'm about the most real person you're going to meet on YouTube, okay? I never, I'm not out here selling manicures and bullshit. I don't do tips and tricks and where my head's bobbing around and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to fix your life and all that other garbage I see on YouTube. I give you guys straight legislation, laws, manuals, whatever that you need in order to be successful with this. I've spent hours, countless hours, every day, every week, walking you, somebody training you. I work with people that are disabled that get completely trashy on the phone with me, talk shit to me, but yet I still service them because here's the deal. Even if you have a mental illness, even if you have an attitude or a problem, I still treat humans with respect, okay? Even when they don't understand, they're treating me disrespectful. Because if I had that attitude, then most people would never be able to consult with me. Trust me, I've had a lot of people go off. I've even had seniors having a bad day talk a little bit of shit to me on the phone. And sometimes it's hard not to talk it back. I always want to make sure that I'm available to help whoever needs it. And if you're going to do my job, you cannot wear your feelings on your shoulder and be ready for the ride of your life. You're going to hear plenty. It's probably a lot like being a psychiatrist. Sometimes it's some things you hear and want to see. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble. Hi, Sly. How can I get in touch with you for a consult? So in my comment section of the actual live video, there should be a pinned comment at the very top. You'll see Section 8 Consulting. You click on that. Also, you're actually in my YouTube channel watching this live video. So if you click on my icon or anywhere on my website, you'll see my email address under almost every single video except for this one. I can't put my web address. It's also behind me. So section8consulting.com. It's all over, man. Michelle Marie. Girl, I know you've been around my channel for a minute. And I know you're also a member. So thank you for being a member. Of course, then again, a lot of people have the same name. So yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. I do really enjoy it. I mean, I do it, you know what, from January, February, March, and April. I was working sometimes 18 and up to 20 hours a day. You'd think, oh, that's impossible. No, it's not. You drink a lot of coffee. I take a break midday, and I would run all the way till 11 o'clock at night. And I did that for months. That was through the housing crisis. That's when everybody was in denial. They celebrated Christmas, and then they woke up to an eviction. And actually, I remember the very day that my channel exploded. I mean, absolutely well, I can't say that word either because I'm on YouTube. So it just absolutely, boom. I was getting about 300 emails or 400 a day. It was impossible. I could never reach all the people. It was a constant flow. And it was scary a little bit for me because a lot of the people that were being put out in their homes had a lot of physical and mental disabilities and coupled with age. And so I was working 18 and 20 hours for 4 months straight to the point of exhaustion each day, 5 hours sleep. Only breaks I really had in between calls was about 8 minutes to use the bathroom. How did I eat? Not so much. And you can't tell, right? But anyway, moving on from that, if you have problems with disability, you're looking to deal with Section 8. And let me tell you something, guys. I know you all are very much interested in the whole Section 811 and disability aspect of all this. Section 811 is not a physical voucher, okay? You can't go down to the housing authority and say, hey, give me that. I know you got Section 811 in your drawer. No. Section 811 is just simply a description or a subsection of federal regulation that would allow funding to be attached to a voucher under the guise of having a disability. So that's why they so poignantly at a housing authority, when you bring up that Section 811, they just kind of grin at you like you're stupid because they don't, the thing about it is vouchers are just vouchers. All these different types of housing, HOP, and some of the other wine right programs and 504 programs, 202 for seniors. So these are all Section 202, 504, Section 811. These are all subsections of either tax law or HUD regulation. And so when you go, can I have section blah, blah, blah? Well, sure. Let me print out the federal regulation for you. It's not a voucher, okay? So there's a lot of you guys have to learn. If you don't want to learn all that, you don't want to watch 200 videos and all that stuff, look, book a consult because I can pretty much fix most of your problems 20 minutes flat. It's not that hard. Well, at least we're pretending a good crowd tonight, 18 people. So that's a high number. I knew I was never going to be a Hollywood star with this stuff because who wants to grow up and be a Section 8 consultant, I didn't expect a lot of people to be visiting. So 18's a lot from my channel. Christina, hello. All the places to start applying for Section 8 voucher in my state are closed. I do have mental mental disorders. Now, let me tell you where you're going wrong with that. Christina, what state do you live in? Because I'm not aware. First of all, I have the entire housing authority list for the United States, including Puerto Rico, and I can tell you right now that not every housing authority is closed. Regardless, unless you live, there's only one state that I could think of where that might be a possibility. That's almost an impossibility. Number two, if you're calling housing authorities and you're hoping for honesty out of these people, and whether or not they'll tell you a list is open or closed or available, or if they're willing to put up the application process on their website, you're dreaming. There's always work to be put into this. New Jersey. All the immediate metropolitan areas are closed. Some of the farther out regions do have they have waiting lists. So I think I know what you mean now. So getting housing in New Jersey is a lot like trying to get housing in New York or LA. It's impossible. And if you could sign up, it would take a lifetime. So, as a matter of fact, New Jersey, a lot of people, I'm sending you guys from New Jersey just down to Pennsylvania. Systems over there is very lean. So, yeah, I do believe you, Christina. There probably is one or two housing authorities out there that are actually open, and you could apply, but they're going to be out there, probably in the far reaches of Jersey. I'd have to check again, but I do believe you in all honesty. So you are absolutely accurate in that respect. Roughly 20% of my clients are from the New Jersey area, and y'all are the toughest crowd I've ever had because you guys do not like leaving New Jersey. I've tried to drag y'all out of there screaming and send you anywhere, but you guys, y'all love that New Jersey lifestyle, so I get that. And so now let me tell you something, that they might be, the voucher and housing authorities might not be accepting people. We can certainly put you in subsidized housing. We could also put you in COC housing. It really depends on your cases. Those things are not closed, okay? So we're just talking about HCV or housing choice vouchers with the housing authority. That is a painful process, but subsidized and COC housing, there is a likely chance we can get you through that. Marie, you live in MA. I'm assuming that's Massachusetts. On a scale of 1 to 100, Massachusetts, I'm going to rank it a 60 for pain in the ass. But yeah, you could still get through their system. Okay. Again, we would have to avoid the major metropolitan areas in order to have some success with that. There's a reason why everybody's leaving out of the big cities right now. One, people need space. Two, the virus has forced people out of heavily populated areas. And three, of course, there's a run on housing right now. And because we have 11 million people that are going through a process of eviction around this country, 11 million now or more, up to possibly 20 million, are currently in eviction process. Because of that, it has put the highest strain on subsidized Section 8 housing, affordable housing, whatever you want to call it. It's put the biggest strain this country has ever seen in its lifetime of having these programs. So we have 5x'd the amount of people looking for housing. Formerly stable people with jobs that were middle class are now zero class and wanting to get in the program. A program that was broken to start with, and now it's just falling to tatters. So it's an interesting game, but let me tell you something, I still know how to play it well, and people still get housing. I wouldn't be posting these letters, housing authority voucher letters all over my website. I wouldn't be posting them all over my community page as of current. I put the real ones up there. These aren't modified. These aren't fakes. They aren't something I stole off Google. You can actually see the housing authority. You can verify them. So yeah, I still give people housing choice vouchers. Now, let's be clear. I'm not selling vouchers. I don't do anything illegal. Okay. I would like to leave MA as far away from my toxic situation as possible. Well, then let me tell you something. Great minds think alike. I would like to mail you away from there as well. I'd like to get you out of that situation. There's a lot of beautiful places. You want to live in the mountains? That we can go through. We can go up to Oregon. We can go up to Washington. You go live up in the mountains where there aren't so many problems. Things are nice. I can mail you butt down to Florida. We can port you down there, and you go live off the damn beach, or you go down to Honolulu. There's lots of great places in this great nation to live besides the big cities. Okay. Also, guys, you guys are not taking account Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Austin. Texas is the host of four or five of the largest cities, top 10 cities, and the cost of living is nothing down here. You can still buy a 4-bedroom house brand new for just under $200,000. You go to Seattle, it's almost $800,000. Go to San Francisco, it's millions. Unemployment rate's the lowest in Texas anywhere in the country. So I mean, why struggle? You could that big check. And let me tell you an interesting story about Social Security checks. People in New Jersey in the 1980s that got Social Security checks then, 80s through the 90s, had the highest payouts of any part of the nation. I don't know how it happens, but there are some cases where people that receive Social Security checks in the city, in New Jersey state, I don't know who the hell, I don't know who the hell they bribed, but their checks, I've seen some clients bring it to me, $3,400. How in the fuck did you manage to do that one? Excuse my language. How the hell did you manage that one? And so it's an anomaly, and it's only happened in New Jersey, but a bunch of people have them for 2,800, 3,400. That's just crazy. I mean, look, when I get a client that's got 800, that's about average. When it's 9 to 1,100, that's a little bit above average. When you get it around 1,500, you're doing better. When you're at 3,000 a month, 3,500, that's absurd. Only in New Jersey. Massachusetts extremely expensive. Yeah, I totally agree. I think anything on the upper East Coast is pretty expensive. How long does it take to answer me back? Expect an email. Well, Mike, well, that really depends. I don't know the beginning of the question. You kind of only just started with when will they email back? I don't know who we're talking about. So, yeah, you have to give me a full question there. So I need to know who we're talking about to email you back. If you're talking about the Housing Authority, we're talking about COC. Got to remember, I deal with hundreds of people every week, so I don't always remember cases. It's impossible. If I remembered every case, I would have 20,000 cases in my head, and some of them quite complex. Hello, Lynn. How are you doing? I'm on a waiting list for a voucher in KCMO. So I'm guessing that's Montana. I asked about the Section 811 and was told KC don't have that program. Never refer to Section 811 as Section 811 because it's not a physical program. It is a funding level and a subsection. Section 811 is actually, when you look at federal regulation, it's a subsection of a title program. Well, it's not a program. It's just the way that they structured the law. What they have are housing choice vouchers, and if you apply, then they use 811 funding to it. Housing authorities are notorious for telling people directly on the phone, 811 what? 811 who? We don't know what you're talking about. And they do that very intentionally. Because they're not actually, the vouchers are not Section 811. That's what they do, they mess up with you. The MT consultation email address you gave me. Well, Mike, I would suggest sending me another email because if you didn't get a response from me, that'd be crazy. I always answer my responses. You can look at my YouTube channel. I answered every comment that's ever been on my YouTube channel since it was invented. So I would tell you I answer every email as well, though it does take me time. But I don't have an email. Maybe it went to spam. You might have typed it in differently. I don't know. Just send me another one, and that'd be the best way to solve that. Let's check our time here because I've been going on for about 48 minutes. So, guys, we got about 15 minutes left, 12 minutes maybe. If y'all got more questions, go ahead and hit me with it. If not, then we're going to start wrapping this up. Again, I've enjoyed having Oleo. If you don't know what's happening, don't know how to deal with it, you don't want to take chances whether or not you're going to spend a lifetime on a waiting list, www.section8consulting.com. I know what I'm doing. I've been here 6 years, 20 years in doing this. Read the information. I couldn't have invented what I know if I tried. And with 200 videos, I would say I'm the highest authority in the nation when it comes to this. Even HUD doesn't have 200 videos, okay? Have you dealt with South Florida? Yes, I have quite extensively. Florida's a big state like Texas and California. And yes, I have dealt with a great deal. All the way from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa Bay. So I've dealt with all of South Florida, including some of the more Cuban communities and counties as well. Is there a voucher for the disabled? Let me explain this. So the Housing Authority has vouchers. And so if you have a disability, they pull from disability funding. So you're misunderstanding the concept of the housing choice voucher. Everybody gets the same voucher. Now, how much that voucher pays and which program pays for the voucher can make it, Section 811, or can make it Section 202, or can make it Section 405. So the thing about it is, You all receive the same type of voucher, but they do different things. If you got 811, then it will allow you probably get 100% rent in most of your utilities if it is attached to 811 subsection in funding. If you got HUD Bash, it might pay out 120% on that HCB voucher. If you got a standard voucher, just simply because you're low income and believe that you deserve low income housing, then it might only just pay 80%. If you're a federal witness with the Department of Justice, the voucher could pay 5x. There's a lot of different scenarios. So no, they're not different. You can't walk in the housing authority and then select a plethora of vouchers. They're all the same voucher. They're connected to different things. And the housing authority does not, under any federal law, have to tell you what funding they're going to attach it to. They often will put you on several different funding levels. So if they know you're a senior and a veteran at the same time, they will put you under senior and veteran status funding. And whichever one hits first is the one they're going to give you the voucher for. So if they get a new $1 million worth of funding specifically for vets, then they'll pull money from the VASH program and issue the voucher on that premise. If it's under senior program, but just got a big chunk of it from, say, President Joe Biden, then they're going to give you a housing choice voucher and they're going to attach the funding to that program. So y'all guys have got to quit worrying about what they're doing in their computers and just worry about getting the voucher and specific types. To be frank with you, they're doing away with Section 811, as you might know it. And so what's going to end up happening is we end up with what they call universal housing vouchers. So the funding will simply be straight tied to specific things. But I know what you're talking about. You're talking about special preference or special use vouchers. And so if the voucher has a special use, then it may pay a lot more than an ordinary voucher. It means your rent responsibility could be nothing. How do you think people end up paying $20 in rent? That's called special use. And they're also mythical unicorns, because unless you know how to catch that mythical unicorn, and the unicorn's a voucher, okay? Unless you know how to hunt those mythical unicorns and get it right, you don't get them, okay? I've been able to get a few every month, depending on the case, and I'm not getting them. I'm assisting clients with applications, and in the process of that going successfully, they write, email, or review me and say, hey, man, I got the mythical unicorn, and that's really what it is. So we got a question from Alexander. Is it illegal to post a property for sale with a photo of another property? I caught this week and two weeks ago searching for housing base and a long list of low-income housing. I don't understand the context of that question. Is it illegal to post a property for sale with the photo of an... Okay, so that's kind of out of the arena of consulting for Section 8. I'm sure whoever's doing that probably is a scumbag. So in that respect, I'm sure. Could they get arrested for it? Well, I suppose they could if they actually tried to sell a house they didn't own. But I don't. In true context, it doesn't really have anything to do with Section 8 housing. I think I think what you're communicating is you're searching for low-income housing, and you were deceived by that. And in that case, you would want to call. You can report it on, Facebook. Obviously, you could also take it to the feds, but they're unlikely to investigate that. That's why a lot of those guys are sitting out there in other countries behind a computer in a smoky cafe, and you're never really going to catch them. Just look, don't rent places that you can't verify that they have a HAP contract, that they're not verified by the housing authority. You guys are, anytime you're going to fool around with Craigslist, you're asking for trouble. So it's a private market house. Well, unfortunately, I don't know much about the private markets. I mean, if they're trading photos, it's probably legal. That moves more into the area of talking to a real estate agent to see what the hell's going on there. I would love to give you an answer, Harry, but I don't really know much about fair market rates and all that. All the landlords and all of the business that I do is all the low income of Section 8. So yeah, it sounds like they're a fraud. All right, guys, we got 6 minutes left. Does anybody else have a question regarding disabilities or other issues? And again, I'd like to repeat, if you want the meat and potatoes of this video, I would recommend at your leisure bookmarking the video, bookmark my website, which is located all over, including behind me. And also in the comments, the #1 comment pinned to the very top, you can find my website all throughout my YouTube channel. So bookmark that in the video, and you can watch us at your leisure. The beginning of the video gives you the meat and potatoes. And then at about 20 minutes, we just start talking about lots of stuff. So it just depends on whether or not you find me entertaining or not. That way y'all can keep reading the video. Trust me, I don't make that much, maybe a penny for every view. So I'm certainly not going to get rich with you guys watching ads. Any more questions, guys? Sly, when will you be live again? You know, I'm the type of person, when I do live videos, I do it when I'm in the mood. So I've never wanted to ever just schedule a specific time, but I can give you an idea of when these videos would likely happen with me. I'm usually at the best peak mood at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time in the mornings. And those mornings tend to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm also at my peak or best at 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 p.m. Central Standard Texas time at night. And it's likely to happen also on a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Sunday night. The best way, guys, for you all to catch me, sit here and watch me bump my gums for a good clean hour and talk, HUD, legislation, and all of it, is to subscribe and turn on all the notifications. You know what? The reason I never tell people to subscribe and do notifications is because I watch so many people on YouTube do that. They annoy the shit out of you with, can you press the bell, do this? It's like you got a full-time job just to listen to a video. Please complete 8 tasks and then you can watch my video. I don't like doing that to people, but yes, if you'd like quick updates or notifications about the channel, click all the trash on, and then whenever you're done watching the video you want to see, just turn it all off. I don't care if people subscribe or not. It's not that important to me. So yeah. Oh, Ebony, I appreciate that. That's quite a chunk of money there. So you know where that money is going to go, Miss Queen? That's going to help me and my kitties. For most of you know that I rescue cats, and I've got a bunch of them. They're posted very exclusively on my community page of my channel. And, these cats are often in bad condition and kicked out by their owners, and I bring them back to life and care for them. So I'll use part of that for that. And the other part I'll use for the 25 grand I'm spending on this stupid website to try to help y'all folks. So, but yes, I really appreciate that, Queen, that donation. So I hope to see you also as well on the channel and other times. I plan to schedule so Lynn says that I like to plan a schedule counseling session with you. Lynn, it'd be my honor. I take this as an honor and a privilege when I'm able to serve seniors, those that are disabled, those that are going through domestic violence and other issues. I consider that a privilege and an honor. This is not a business for me to go out and buy a Benz. I don't give a shit about stuff like that. It's not the point of my life. The point of my life is being able to help people that are most desperate, that need this stuff. If I wanted to get rich, I would be writing these silly books. I would have subscriptions and all this other garbage. Can you buy all my videos and all that trash? Okay, I don't do all that because I'm not, like I said, I'm not interested in becoming a millionaire. All people that are already broke. That's the most ridiculous thing. I got one guy on YouTube, man. I'm not going to say his name, but he's selling all kinds of shit. But good luck to him, because when you lose your ability to have compassion for humans, when you lose your ability to be able to save a mother with a child under a bridge, when you lose your compassion enough to where you're unable to rescue a senior out of a shelter that's literally dying in there, then you're not doing anybody any justice. You're just running your lips, and the only person you give a shit about is yourself. I don't operate that way. I do what I do because I care about you guys. Why else would I sit on the phone with somebody that go off on me? You have bad mental days. Sometimes you get schizophrenic with me. You say things to me that are crazy, but I don't give up on y'all. I don't. I stick with it. I see it through. And eventually, when you're having your best day, those are usually the days that I'm able to get you guys housing. So it matters what happens to all of y'all. Why the hell else would I be doing this? So I just want to communicate that to y'all. I actually do care. You can see that in my attitude and my gestures. And the 14 years that I did this without ever charging anybody a penny, 14 years, 6 of which were on YouTube, nothing. I answered comments and emails night and day for people for 6 years, for free, providing manuals, calling people, but there does reach a point I have to charge for these things. I have to make a living, and I try to do it modestly, okay? But it's never about money for me. So let's move on. I have 2 rescues. One is now, and 10, and the other city's 14. Oh, 10 and 14, that's a good age. I've got a baby girl. She's, I think, 15. My aunt's got 2 cats, 23 and 24. Now, imagine that one. In total, I have 21 cats, and that includes Pop, Snow Bear, Little Bear, Girly. I'm still trying to remember all the names. One day I'm going to post all the photos. I've posted about 20 so far, and I do genuinely care about them. I've actually been able to turn completely stray cats house friendly. Now imagine that, the level of patience it takes. And I want to thank y'all for giving me that level of patience, because some of you guys work my patience, and I've learned a lot in life by that. It does take a certain type of person to have a great deal of patience with people. And so those cats have helped me in many ways. And in return, I care for them. You know, some of these cats, man, have been abandoned. The owners buy them, they raise them, they treat them like a part of the family, and then on moving day, they throw them out like trash. The cat doesn't understand why it's burning up or why it's freezing, why it no longer has a meal. It doesn't understand why the owner hates it, and it's just basically left it to die. People are really, really screwed up when they do shit like that. So my small part is helping these cats, and I do care immensely about them. The same in limited days, I care about cats that much. I care about y'all too. So, anyways, thanks for hearing my sob story about my cats, but I do love them. And there's some other cats up here, but I don't keep lions in the house. That's that would be rough, you know. So I know I got a lot of cat lovers in my channel, and I appreciate you all. You all often share photos, y'all text me photos, and we often communicate about those different things, and I enjoy that immensely with you guys, especially my seniors or some of my best cat caretakers. So anybody else got questions? I know we got 14 people not talking here. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. I do try to stand out, you know, but the thing about it is, when I first started doing this, my videos were horrible. I didn't have the right equipment, none of that stuff. I wanted to help. I didn't quite know how to help on YouTube. I wasn't a personality, didn't understand how to communicate clearly with people. I learned over time. And one thing I learned is you can be there's two types of YouTubers. There's three. There's the new people that don't know what they're doing. I was one of those 6 years ago. The second type of person you get are the ones that try to invent a personality, okay? You feel like you're talking to the news anchor, all right? These are very inventive personalities. They're disingenuous, and so is the shit they're trying to sell you in their conversation. Then there's me. I keep it real. You know, I talk with y'all on a professional level. I talk with y'all on a street level, a hood level, any kind of level that needs to be necessary. As long as you can receive me as the man, you know, the man that I am, and the way that I talk to you, then we're fine. So yeah, I tried, like I said, I try to appeal to everybody and just keep it real. You know, if you're going to watch a man talk for an hour, you at least want to be able to talk to a real person. Okay, not a rodeo clown giving out tips and tricks. And YouTube is full of that. Well, guys, we've approached 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 43 seconds. Last call for Section 8 questions. I've been rambling now for a good 30 minutes. I think we went through that. And again, guys, you can find my website, section8consulting.com. It's a beautiful site, and it's got a lot of different features. We're rolling out articles, and I hired I've got a man from Europe writing articles that works for BBC, and I got another for LA Times writing articles. These are step by step. You ever read some of these terrible articles on Google? These are not how to get Section 8 housing. They're just terrible. So we're replacing a lot of these old articles that YouTube's pushing up, and we're putting out some that are much better to help people. So much trash floating around Google right now. Angel Daniels, no, I'm just like kind of curious of what they look like for him, because I have a fiance and I'm having his baby, and he just got out of prison. Well, if he just got out of prison, you know, they got a program called Rapid Rehousing and RRH. So I don't know if you're, I'll make sure I read the question correctly. So you guys could probably stay together. I mean, I don't know if y'all are together or y'all separating, whatever it may be. But if somebody has a criminal record, that's not going to stop you from getting housing. I can get you right through that. It's not a big deal. We can get you into COC housing. There's plenty. The only time it's going to be a big problem with records is if you just recently, like in the last year, went and robbed the bank. Might be an issue. The second would be if you have been charged with being somebody like a drug lord, where you're doing distribution of drugs. And unfortunately, people that use meth and get caught with meth, for some reason, the housing authority absolutely hates that. So otherwise, I work with all kinds of convicts. You know what? Let me tell you a cool story before I go. I had a call about 2 weeks ago, and I'm not going to tell you his name, but he was a bank robber, and it was no joke. It was no damn joke. Just got released from prison, okay? And he was very clear about it. We laughed together. I said, "You've got to be he was one of the most fascinating men that I talked to in a while, you know." So he got out the federal pen for robbing banks. I don't know how many he robbed. It sounded like it was a lot. And so he was looking for housing. And sure as shit, man, we worked together, and I think we're reaching that goal now. And so if I can put a bank robber into a federal program for Section 8 and get him housing, what can I do for y'all? You know? So, Kim's Gyms. You're disabled, you need a place. So, Kim, let me tell you, your disability, depending on the type that it is, that's what we were talking about earlier in the video. You definitely want to watch the first 20 minutes of video, because I went over application processes and all the federal regulation with that to help you wrap your mind around what's happening. And also, I would really, you know what, if you're not exceptionally good at dealing with housing authorities, I would book a consult, because it's a lot easier for me to run you through a process in a 20-minute conversation than it would be for you to watch hundreds of videos, go do an application, mess it up. Because once you're a matter of public record and you give these answers, you cannot keep going back and changing them in the hope that it's going to push you up or lower on a list. I'm going to tell people, stop risking your future with renting and dealing with housing authorities. Once you give answers, man, they're not going to let you change them for something better. So my advice, get with me about that. Also watch the beginning of the video. I made several exclusively about disability, and I'm going to make another one this is going to be more for the academic types that really want to get down to federal legislation, federal law and regulation, all that. Let's see what else we got here. Let's talking about my cats. Of course, I love my cats. I should have named this Section 8 cats, because my damn cats are homeless, and so are my clients. Most of them. Some of my clients are homeless, but not all of them. So, yeah. Ken's Gyms in Los Angeles. Oh, well, I'm going to pray for you tonight if you're in Los Angeles. That's a tough county. Roughly 34 to 35% of my clients are from Los Angeles. And under the LASHA, LASHA Housing Authority, which is complete absurdity. 200,000 on the waiting list. 2080 before anybody probably get a new voucher. I had a young lady about 26 just get a voucher from me. Well, not me. She got a voucher in Los Angeles. And to this day, I'm still amazed that she was able to get that. 26 got one. And look, Los Angeles is the toughest place on the freaking planet to deal with the housing authority. I'm not going to lie. Now, I send people packing down to San Diego, Riverside, Kern County, and all around there. No problems. The lists are pretty short. But at Los Angeles and Orange County is a complete flipping nightmare. Crystal Annie, I wonder if the bank robber was my neighbor. I was in Las Vegas, and very possibly he was my neighbor, and he loved to rescue dogs. Well, my bank robber has a personality like me. I actually, he's one of those clients that I actually like to be friends with, even though I don't consult him anymore. But, oh, there's the cat. I hear him. Y'all hear him? He's howling out the door. That's Snow Bear, and he's a talking cat. That's what a talker. Gets real loud when he wants something. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna have to shut this down. Otherwise, he's gonna sit at that door until he gets me to move. So, let's take a look else. What else we got on the questions, and then we're gonna move on. So I was wondering if the bank robbers been able to Las Vegas. Well, even if he was, he just got out of the federal penitentiary, and so I doubt he's gonna want to come. And he only hits people a lot of money, so I'm thinking he probably is going to be in the nice neighborhoods, or at least because they have nice banks, But yeah, he's not the first one I've dealt with. I've also dealt with drug dealers, big ones. You'd be surprised. I've also dealt with a lot of big attorneys. I've dealt with big mortgage companies. I deal with all kinds of interesting people you would never think would call me. And because a lot of these professionals that work as lawyers and other things, sometimes they get tough cases. I've told you many times that nonprofits often call me and will dump 30, 40 cases on me. So they're a nonprofit that earn federal funds to buy chandeliers and new computers, but they find it more favorable to dump all their casework on me. That way they can continue to keep having shrimp and champagne in that building, and then just pay me to do the work so they don't have to do anything. I've had it happen quite a bit. I also have social workers that have dumped their caseload on me a few times, and I'm not talking a few either. And so what you have is people being treated like trash. Little more than trash. Take files, put them in a glad bag, put them in a trash bag, and then hand them off to me. They're just trash. Their files mean nothing. I'm telling you guys, you're playing a serious game when you deal with housing authorities and all the crazy shit they do. So, anyways, Angel Daniels, yes, you may, obviously, yes. Anybody that wants to book a consult with me, that's fine. Let me tell you something else, guys. Look, if I can't do what I say that I can do, if I can't prove my reputation after 20 years, spending 25 grand on a website, a channel that's existed 6 years, every video has almost 100% likes. There are no angry people on my YouTube channel. Then, if I can't get you housing, then your life is done because there's nobody better than me. If I can't get it, then who else in this country could possibly get you housing? You're out of options. Once you reach me, you're done. It only goes downhill for me. Take a look around YouTube and Google and see what you find. It goes downhill fast. It goes straight from professional to con artist. There's my other cat crying. So they're letting me know I need to get off. So this is petting hour. All my cats need petting, and if I don't, they're just going to keep howling during the video. I am treated like garbage where I am staying. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Obviously, I don't want anybody. Come on, Papa, stop that. Come here. People want to see you. Come on. Come on. Come on. I got treats. You coming? Are you coming, Papa? He might come. I never know. Come on. Come in. I want to show you one of the cats if I can get him to come. Come on. This is what happens when I keep him all. Papa, come on. I got treats. I guess he's not coming, so I hate to hold y'all hostage in this video of me calling cats. So, look, I've enjoyed talking with everybody. If you're interested in the consult, please do. It's a simple calendar. You can find it on my main webpage. You pick a date, pick a time, and then we discuss the problems you're having. The main thing is I load you up with everything that you need, and with a success rate around 93%, I would say that I'm the Elon Musk of Section 8. I am the, I'm the Michael Jordan of Section 8, man. There's nobody better. If there is, please email me their profile. I would like to take a look at their website and their career on YouTube and Google and see, but I already know the answer to that. But yeah, if y'all find somebody better than me, please surprise me. So Ken's Gyms, I've been on the waiting list over 9 years. Well, Ken, we probably need to take a look at those answers. And you know what? If you don't have preferences, things that would make you rank higher, then it may be time for you to have a discussion about the new problems you have. Maybe you've acquired a mental problem that would give you a 20% push on that waiting list. There's lots of things you can do. If the law says, if Bob has to have problem A, B, and C, and Bob doesn't have A, B, and C, then what do you go do? How does a clever man play that game? You go out and get the fucking problem, right? Makes sense, don't it? I think you know where I'm going, but I have to be careful what I say. So, all right, guys, I've enjoyed it. Now the cats are scratching at the door, and they're obviously upset with me, so I got to roll. I've enjoyed talking with all of y'all. Email me. Not email me. Message me on the. Tell you what I'm going to do, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to let my cats in real quick. I'm going to just turn off the camera for a second. Come on, guys. Oh. Okay, so this is one of my little angels. He's the howler. Say hello to the camera, papas. He was thrown out of a car window in my neighborhood by some very bad people. He was barely the size of the palm of my hand. He was about as big as my fist. That's it. And it took several vet visits, and I had to nurse him back to health. We didn't know if he was going to make it. I stayed up many countless nights saving him, and that was an infant basically thrown out of a car driving by. Sometimes I wish I lived in West Virginia, where you can just pull out you know what I'm talking about, because I surely would have filled that car with holes. But I didn't have that option, and we have to act with decency, So yeah, it was terrible. Daniel, I'm glad to see you on. That's one of my other cat men. Guys, I'm gonna have to pause the video one more time because I gotta let him out. Sorry. Come on, Poppers. You been bad. Oh, all right. These cats are making me work today. I'm gonna have to put on my gym clothes to keep up with them. So let's see. Gotta roll back, Daniel. So Daniel, one day you're gonna have to show us your cats. Get on the YouTube channel and then show us some of those cats you got. For those of you guys that don't know Daniel, he's one of my longtime members. Actually, a lot of the people that are on here right now are actually longtime members. Have been with me quite a while. Wynette's been with me quite a while. Yeah, quite a few people. Crystal Addie's been with me for a while. So, and I would show you all the rest of the cats, but to be frank with you, when I come to work, I only wear half the attire, so I have to stand up, and then that would be inappropriate. I don't actually get fully dressed for videos, so that's one of the luxuries of working from your home office. You don't have to completely, get all ready. So Regina Caspers, I already have Section 8, but I'm trying to move from New York to Fayette, North Carolina. I'm having a hard time finding housing. Can you help me? Absolutely. So first what we need to do is, I'm sure you've done your Google search and all that. A lot of those websites are just garbage. Number two, if you're accepting lists from the Housing Authority itself, let me give you a tip, well, I shouldn't even call it a tip because you know how much I hate saying tips and tricks, but let me give you some advice. Anytime you accept a list from a housing authority, that's going to be the worst garbage possible. Okay, so there are other remedies we can look at. We can get federal list and give you a prize of all the properties out there and be able to sort them through a database. Okay, this is a lot better than you wandering around on Chinese and Russian websites that are only designed to give you garbage stuff, and they're just there. The websites are up saying they're affordable properties when they're not. They're just fake websites listing any product. You guys are playing a dangerous game looking for affordable housing with Google, truly. Almost 9 out of 10 of those websites are fake, or they have real properties, but a lot of them are not even low income. So you guys are really just playing playing with the devil looking at those lists. So yeah, I could probably help you with that. To be a member cost, well, it's the lowest in the nation. To be a member of this channel, you can practically spend $1.99, and I designed it that way. So you give $1.99, and YouTube takes its cut. It's like the mafia, and then it gives me 99 cents. And that's a pretty bad deal, right? They get half. So yeah, the lowest membership. If you guys want to get a membership where you see these neat little badges like gold and silver and different things, starts at $1.99, $4.99, I think $9.99, $10.99. It goes all the way up to $100. I've had a few people spend $100. I mean, some people have the money, they believe in the cause, and $100 is nothing to them. For others that don't have a lot to give, $1.99 is something that's easy to pay for. You've got more change in your couch than what would be required to get a bronze membership for this channel. It's one of those things that I don't ask of people. It's, if you want to be a member, then by all means, please do. I spend that money almost exclusively to help my cats. So I love my cats too. I love humans. I love to help you guys with Section 8 housing, but I also love my cats, and I rescue them too. They don't have homes either. So I guess I'm a humanitarian or an ultra liberal or whatever people want to call me. I don't have any political position, but I guess the more you care about humans, the less political you become. Maybe you could set up cat purchase. Actually, I'm going to I train my cats to both be indoor and outdoor. That's the first thing that I do. That way, they are still in touch with nature. I believe that cats deserve stimulation. Now, I understand not everybody can do that, but I like cats to be able to do their business indoors and outdoors. I like them to hear the birds chirp and all that. You can't just simply leave a cat, go to work, and then leave them in complete darkness and silence all day. It's just a wrong way to handle life itself. So I teach my cats to both be inside and outdoors, and they're much happier because of that. And I do have perches all over the house. Sometimes it's my head. They do find places all over. However, for health purposes, they know better than doing that in the kitchen, because I do not, if you know them cats lick everywhere, I'm not having that where I'm having my dinner. Okay, so they know better. Everywhere else, they're welcome to do it. So yeah. How do I email you? So www.consulting.com, section 8 consulting.com, as you see behind me there. If you go on that website, at the very bottom of the page, you'll see a contact form, or you can go to Book Now page, and there's a contact form there. I don't put my email out there anymore simply because people scrape emails off the internet with the exclusive idea of sending me nothing but garbage emails. Okay, so I cut that out. I don't post my phone number because then if I did that, then what would happen is I would never have nothing to consult about. You see, it would defeat the very purpose of me being a consultant. Everybody could simply call for free, and then I would be in the same situation I was for 14 years. Everything's free, and then nobody pay for anything. So yeah, you can just go to the bottom of my website page and do that. Let me tell you something, guys. I answered every comment for 6 years on YouTube, every single stinking comment on YouTube. So if you send me a message by email, I answer. Okay, I'm not one of those people that wait 4 days later. I actually answer everything that I can. I usually 4 in the morning, but I'll catch you then. I'll catch you in the afternoon. So I take it seriously. Some people's situations are dire, and so not answering emails is not a joke. I never play with people's life. If I didn't want to do what I wanted to do, then I would shut down this channel. You know, so I looked at those Google lists, and now I have thousands of advertisements and phone calls all day long. Of course, because one of the other clever games those guys tend to play in other nations when they put up these affordable housing search websites is they'd like your number and your social security, your phone number and your email and all that shit, and then you get hit. So that's why I recommend using me for that type of service, doing housing searches. One, I use federal lists. Okay, that means it's every single property. There is no property left out. Number two, you're not dealing with somebody with an independent website. You'll be dealing with a search database exclusive to the United States government. All right, you're not going to go wrong there. When you ask Google for help, it's great for many things, but it's definitely not for housing because everybody's just scamming each other and that stuff. How much is a consult? Currently, I charge $45. That's what I charge. I charge $45. We usually talk 20, 30 minutes. And I've learned over 10,000 conversations later, it really does take about 20 minutes. I have also a lot of additional information that I give people, including instructional videos, which are private, they're highly detailed. And then in addition to that, I give you that. Now, here's one of the things that drive housing authorities absolutely fucking wild. I give you their manuals, their employee operations manual. Imagine that. So you're at the housing authority. You ever wonder how these people get trained and all the rules they have to play by? I have their manuals, all of them, every housing authority. So yeah, when you go, you're well armed. Trust me. It's like going to take your SAT test, and you not only have the test before you get to the building, you also have the manual. You have both the questions and the answers. So that's how well I do my job. So you won't, but I'll tell you something. If you ever to reveal those people, oh, by the way, I've got your housing authority manual in my purse, they'll ban you for life. Is it illegal to have it? No, I'm just clever enough to know how to get these things. So that's why I absolutely send housing authorities, chasing their tail. Because when I send people in to get housing and get on waiting lists, I do it the right way. It's there ain't no getting around what I do. If you look at my community, I actually publish reports from directors of housing. So I often know things before it even hits main media. And that's thanks to federal employees that like to come to me, that hate their jobs and are willing to give up information. Nothing that's illegal, nothing that's top secret, but just a good taste of what goes on. Stuff that you guys would never be able to get unless you've been in the game long enough. Beyond that, so Hire Jay, he is the best cat ruler. Well, yeah, I have a kitty. Well, I got to be careful how I say that on YouTube. I have a cat ranch. Okay, so yes, it's not that kind of cat ranch. None of the cats are turning tricks. Okay, it's not project-based housing here for the cats. So yes, I do take care of the cats, my kitty cats, and I do love them, and we bring them back to the house. So that's part of what I do. Guys, do y'all have any other questions? Y'all gonna keep nailing me about these cats? Although we were here to talk about disabilities in Section 8. I hear some of you guys have been on my channel for hours. I get up sometime 3 in the morning and I've got 90 people watching, okay, at 3 in the morning. So all that I can think is y'all are binging my videos like Netflix. What the hell? You're in housing in Lancaster, all right. That's a nice place, actually, Lancaster, but it depends on what neighborhood you're in, so I suppose. Well, we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. I have muscular dystrophy. That is an automatic qualifier, Ken, that you can automatically get Section 811 with that. If you look at the first 20 minutes of the video, I was describing the actual federal regulation part, and so you're good to go. With that, we would need to set your case up and make sure that we get the right applications down to your doctor, and you're ready to roll. There will be no argument. If the housing authority tries to argue that point, we'll file it with district office, and I'll send their ass reeling with that one. So yeah, that's an easy case to win. Crystal, I see you retracted a message. Did you say something naughty? I think I can get a 2-bedroom. You possibly can. Another thing, Ken, is if you have muscular dystrophy, and a lot of guys don't know this, but my adopted father is a paraplegic. He's not with us anymore, obviously. And so while growing up, I encountered many people that had muscular MS, MD, and many other things, including what you have, Ken. And so I know the complexities of those situations, and that's why I have a very fine understanding of disabilities. And because, what happens when you're in a family and everybody at Christmas parties in a wheelchair or has a problem. So a lot of my dad's friends through physical therapy would come over. And so I've seen a whole host of diseases and other issues and disabilities in our own homes. So, yeah, I know what you're going through, my friend. But yeah, so too bad. What I was going to say is we can get you care workers and care aid funding as well attached to that, or support services would allow a family member or other persons to come in, clean, cook, and do other things for you, just as an added bonus, And inside of that, we can get ADA compliance, get you bigger, better housing, and then we can really, really push the housing authority to the edge of reality, because we have a lot of ADA compliance we can bring into that to give you some of the best places out there. A visual problem is diabetes. Diabetes is a considered factor. Okay, it is not a factor that is an automatic qualifier. However, the visual problem I can work with. We would have to get into what's really going on with you. And so I'm not trying to force you into booking a consult at my website, but I think if we could figure out several different factors for you in combination of or in lieu of, we would likely be able to get you in principally probably a good positioning for an HCB voucher through the housing authority. We could also probably jump into subsidized housing and see how you would do with that. If your situation is more pressing, more of an emergency, there are other steps we can take with continuum of care housing. So there's a lot of available options to you guys. It's just if you don't know what these things are, how to do them, and you got to be clever, man. You're dealing with a reg system. Let's make no mistake. They don't get vouchers because they need them. People get vouchers because they were smart enough to know how to get them. And it's a tough game. It's a rigged game, and it's a game for me because what I do is I play the game better than the people that invent it. And I do it by understanding and reading everything. So anyways, beyond that, yeah, get in touch, man. I'm no joke. You can watch any video. You can see the success stories. I mean, over 10,000. So, I mean, I can prove it. Look, people would not make me a district manager to review applications for millions for buildings that cost 7, 10, 20 million, 30 million. District manager at properties over 500. So I have over 200 landlords I deal with, and they would not entrust, millions of dollars of properties and tenant applications to me if I didn't know what the hell was happening. And beyond all that, I have an extraordinary record with helping people with Section 8 housing, vouchers, and other issues. So there's very little my fingers haven't touched. So I watch these guys on TV, sit on Fox News, NBC. They talk about Section 8. And to be frank with you, I really just giggle because the level of understanding they have and principle is just minuscule compared to me. But they're the ones making the big bucks, on eyewitness news, giving their opinion to the nation, and when their opinions are almost worthless. But hey, that's how it goes. Some of us like just helping people. Moving on, brief message sent to you. I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody that gives me brief messages. I realize some people like to write whole novels, and I get that as well, but it makes it hard on me when you do that. So thank you for being brief. How straight is the shot in MN? Minnesota, I think that's what you're referring to. On a scale of 1 to 100 scale on difficulty, if you're not in a metropolitan area, I'm going to rank that city at about a 45. It's not too bad. We could actually do really well in some of the outer line counties. If you want a fresh air and a better job and better quality of life, then yeah, it's not on my shit list like LA, New York, in certain parts of New Jersey. So yeah, I think we'd be fine him in. Chris Lady, no, I was always, do they have a little OCD? OCD is a predetermined factor, but we've got to pair that with other things. Like I told you guys, if you don't have the complete problem, if the law says you have to be this, this, and this, then our whole conversation will revolve around getting you to be that, that, and that. That's how this whole game works. You know, when you don't have the problems, then you better damn well invent them. You know, you've got time before you apply. If we know there's 8 things that are going to make you rank higher, what is the most obvious choice? You hire a consultant that'll tell you, you do this, this, and this, you will meet law number 1, number 2, number 3. Guess what? Now you've got all 7 magical preferences, and you'll be like a unicorn with a flame blowing out its butt, straight to the top of the list. That's what I do. And even if we're in a state where things are hellish and a waiting list are 20 years long, I can sit there and we can play a game of bingo with every housing authority. I will sit there and then I'll do open federal state requests for each one, compel them to give me their waiting list, and then we'll play bingo. What I mean by that is I'll find the one where there's only 20 people on the waiting list and send you packing down there. How long do you think it'd take to get that voucher? 6 days. So I look for weaknesses in housing authorities as well. So there's lots of techniques I deploy in order to get people housing. That's why I do it so well. Chris Laddie, that moves really fast for you. It took me several years. Happy it worked out for you. Okay, good deal. Where are nice places in SoCal, South Cali? Hard to say, man. You know, it's been a decade. I used to live in San Francisco. So that's not something I can easily answer. It sounds like you're looking for a realtor. I can probably generate a federal list for you. I mean, that'll help you out. So it's hard for me to say in South Cali. South now, and we're talking about South California itself. A lot of those are small counties, man. 2, 3, 5,000 people. The waiting list would be about the size of your hand. So yeah, there's a lot of latitude. I caught one county that I sent a lady packing over. It was a small town, had a little old housing authority, and she got her voucher a few days later. Why? Because nobody ever bothered to apply. Just works out that way sometimes. All right, guys, I've enjoyed having y'all all. My voice is starting to give. This is by far the longest video I've ever did. It's an hour and 32 minutes sitting here just talking like I've been having bourbon at a bar. I hope I've been able to help you guys with the disability aspects and all that. I'm going to make a video that's straight to the point, as you all know that I do that. It'll probably be 10 or 12 minutes, and we're going to roll straight through all the laws, legislation, everything there. I want you guys to be apprised of your rights, the rules, and policies and procedures of the housing authority. So when they try to lie to you and give you a bunch of BS, then you could sit there and you could show them in detail from legislation, from subsection law, and from federal regulation that here, this is not going to be whether they want to do it, it's what's required by law. And there'd be no lip service or back talk from them, because at that point, they know that you got them. So that's how I play the game. So I've enjoyed talking with everybody. If you have not booked a consult, you're welcome to do so. Monday I'm free. I realize that's a holiday. If you guys have got a minute after you have your steak and shrimp, whatever you're doing with the holidays, you can always book a consult that day, all next week. And so, this is what I do every day. And I've enjoyed having everybody here. If you're not a member of the channel, I'm just going to say, some people have been asking about that and why they have special badges in the chats and all that. Look, $1.99, you can join membership and you get a special badge and then lots of attention from me. What does it provide you with? It doesn't provide anything other than just good, decent conversation from an honest man that runs an honest company that helps people that truly, truly need affordable housing. That's all it does. It doesn't grant any crazy benefits. So just so y'all know. All right. Well, y'all have a great night. It has been an extraordinary, like I said, privilege and an honor to serve you all, because that's what I'm here to do. Serve you if that's what you need, and get you situated with housing, get you through that process so you don't turn around and tell yourself before you go to sleep, well, fuck it, I give up. I don't want you guys to give up. I've designed my entire career behind getting people to stop saying that word to themselves. There is a way to deal with all this, and I get a lot of people through housing. It may be hard, it may be difficult, it may even be a pain in the ass, but the result is always the same. If you stick and you do what I'm asking you to do, you usually will get the housing. Only a few people fail. That's when you can't stay sober, when you can't stay off the drugs, when you're unable to control your emotional reactions mentally and stuff like that. That's the only time that the system will usually fail. Or you live in a place where there simply is no voucher. I can work miracles, but I'm not Jesus. So, all right, y'all have a good night. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.